We are on location today. We're in a customer's home and we've been working on a remodel in a bathroom. And today is crown molding day. So this
One
is
of my faves. I like crown molding.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Why do you like it so much?
Because it adds so much to a room. It makes the room look larger because it extends the ceiling size down the wall a little bit, and so it actually gives the illusion of the room being a little bit larger. It's a nice decorative accent. It doesn't work in all rooms, but it's a lot of places in this house, so we're gonna add it here.
All right.
There was crown molding here before. We've taken down a soffit that was up here, old school.
Old school.
Took
Old
down
school's gone.
soffit, so now we're gonna put it back, and there was crown molding around the other side of the room, so now we took all the crown down and put a new crown around the whole room. So here we go. You see how we do crown molding.
Yes, and we do apologize for the background noise. There's a fan going on to suck all the dust out of this room outside.
Yeah.
Because James looks like a snowman.
Yeah, just saying the sheetrock. That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice. My 80s are coming in nicely. Okay, so the first thing I did is measure from that corner to here and from this corner to here. We've already set some of the tile yesterday, and what I've learned is this is not a true 45-degree angle. So we're gonna bring in a couple pieces, cut to 22.5, put them together and see where we need to trim it. Lock in the angle, get it right, and then we'll mark these two pieces here, and then we'll just start. Actually, I go and work to my left, because I'm left-handed, so it's easier for me to cut the miters on the left side. So actually, I go to the right. I don't know what I'm saying. I like to cut the miters on the left side of the board. You'll see when we get up there. Okay, so ideally this should be 222.5 put together to make a 45. It's not going to be. It's going to be a little different. But the easiest way to visualize is just cut a couple scrap pieces left over from another job, bring them in, put them up there. You can see exactly how much you have to tighten it, see how it fits the wall, that sort of thing. So the way I like to cut my crown, this is the bottom of the crown with that extra cove. I just like to put it against the bottom, hold it in there square, set my saw for 22.5. Now, I don't do miters in the corners. I cope them. And I cope them because, well, my grandfather told me it's the only way to do it right. And I believed him. So they should come together to make the angle that we want around that corner. So that actually comes together very nice. And here's what the problem is it bows out here on the corner bead. So we're tight here, but we have a bow here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut these pieces and mark them. I like the way that comes together. I don't think you're gonna get much better a joint than that. The left end will be square cut, the right end will be square cut, and we will cope to both of those. Okay, so my piece on the left is 80 1/8. Mark that to there. And that's where my angle comes out. And then my piece to the left is 34 3/4 off the square. So I mark that 34 3/4. And I mark it down here on this flat part of the crown. Okay, so I got the crown upside down. This is the bottom of the crown. This is the top of the crown. Okay, it's upside down. And I put it in my saw. And I put it in here. The length of my piece, you can see there's the line down there. All right, so that's where I'm trying to get my line to. I'm set to 22.5. That's my line. What I'll tend to do is to cut it just a little bit longer so I can bring it in and get it really nice. Get the weight of the scrap off of there, and then I can see, oh, I'm nice and close, about 1/8 of an inch. I'm going to go here more because I can bring it in tight from the left side and have a little bit of gap at the left wall, because where the other piece of crown copes over it, we'll hide that gap. The main thing is when you're doing this, just keep your crown, a good grip on it here, against the fence. Now I got to change the other side of my angle, 22.5 again. I just want to keep a good grip here. I got my thumb over it, and I'm forcing the flat part against the fence. You'll see it can rack and roll in there a little bit, but you feel it's definitely there when you hit the right spot. Check for my line. That's important when you make your cut. When you've made the cut and you've come through, don't release your hold on the piece because it wants to flap back into the teeth, which are still spinning as the saws come up. It can grab it and pull it on you. So keep your grip on it until it's out. I know some guys like to let the saw blade stop spinning while it's against the wood and then pull the piece away. If you get a broken tooth on your saw or something like that, sometimes it'll snag on the way up. So that's a good little change your saw blade. But in the meantime, here's my mark list. So the way I mark my stuff, I mark it so that the piece should probably still have the little mark left on it when I'm done. Okay, so crown molding is not typically a one-person job. It does take two. They do make little rigs. I've got some. My mom gave them to me for Christmas, and I have run crown by myself using them. Put a little screw in the wall, hook it up there, holds that end of the crown for you. Right before you nail it in, you unhook it, take that screw stays with it. Pretty cool. I like to put the crown against the wall. Make sure, again, like the fence, is it sitting flat against the wall? Once it's sitting flat against the wall, I like to push it straight up to the ceiling. Crown molding can roll on you like this and still look good, or like this and it still looks good, but it's not right. You have to be flat here, so you're flat here. Push it up to the ceiling. Okay? Now, I can tell by the way that feels. I've got a pretty good corner right there. I'm gonna pop a nail on it. Top and bottom. I'm not gonna nail that end yet. And the reason I don't nail that end yet is because we're gonna go all the way around the room, and then this last piece here is gonna have to tie into that. If I need that to roll or tuck one way or the other, I wanna have a little flexibility with it. If this end's locked into this piece, I can still get a little twist in that piece of crown molding and fix the angle of it, if I so need to. Okay, so here's my other piece of crown molding. You're gonna put it up here. We'll do assisted fold back there. And I'm gonna put this up here into my gash that can gas there. That's gonna tap right in there, about perfect. So it needs to be chopped in just a hair. I'm gonna put a nail in it to hold it there. Well, I get a hammer. And another battery. New battery. Oh, what a world of difference. Okay, so we popped a couple in there. Now you'll notice on the bottom, I'm out just a hair. This bottom piece needs to go up just a little bit to force itself in there. The gap is beautiful, but you gotta tap it up. And never hit a hammer directly into your crown mold. You're gonna damage your piece. Now that fixed the bottom of that about perfect. Okay, so that looks good there. That is about as nice as you're gonna get. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna come back here with a little bit of sheetrock mud, and I'm gonna fix this because you can really see where this swells out. This corner here was not plumb to the ground. We set this corner view to the laser to make sure we got it right. But you can see to get this right, we had to pull it this way, which opened up a gap here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour a leaf in and add a little bit of mud there, and we will flush that out. Okay, now while I don't want to nail into the corner again here because I want that to be able to roll a little bit as necessary, I can put the piece of wood up here and tap with a hammer and roll it in. Or I can put a piece of wood here and tap it and up and roll it out. So I've got a little bit of adjustment there. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make this piece and we'll get this corner fitted right. And once it's the way we like it, we can nail off the whole piece. Okay, so people say, well, how do you measure the crown mold? It's simple, you just measure the wall. So you can put the tape measure here, not on the crown, just below the crown. You're gonna measure the wall. Corner to corner, I'm 77 3/8. Now, one thing I like to do, because we're painting later, is 77 3/8. I'll put a note, because forget stuff. So 77 3/8. If you cut the piece square end to end 77 3/8, or cut it 77 3/8 with the miter, a 45-degree miter on the end, by the time you cope it back, it will allow for the thickness that I'm sure you that Owen saw. Oh yeah, 77 3/8. Good thing I made it up. And this doesn't happen on every job, but these people, every day, they set out a whole bowl of treats. There's Pringles in here, there's chocolate bars in here, there's Chips Ahoy, there's ice cubes, there's a pack of nabs, there's everything, bottles of water. We even have little napkins. Look at this today. He made us monster cookies. Yeah, I'll put up crown molding all day for some cookies. All right, so what we want to do is we got the sauce set up. Again, we're keeping the bottom of the crown flush to the fence. Got it set up for a 45-degree angle. I want to cut it off. You know you're doing the cut right if the, see I'm cutting the bottom and I'm going to go this direction here with it. So in the end, the tail will be longer than the top. And that makes sense because when crown molding is sitting up on the ceiling and you're coming into a corner, the tail is longer than the top. So just remember, look at your cuts. I see people all the time, they swing the saw the wrong way, make the cut, and they're like, wasting another piece. So the tail needs to be longer than the top. There's probably proper terms for the top and the tail. I don't know what they are, so just bear with me and have fun. There's my mark. Okay? So you're going to see from the front of it, you can see this profile line? That's the edge of it. So this is what we call our profile line. This hole where the white stops, the primer stops, and the actual wood starts. We need to get rid of all this wood, kind of going straight back. So this piece is going to sit up there and it's going to butt into that piece. But right now, this is in the way. I don't know if I can show it very well. See how they don't come together? See what's in the way? All that unprimered wood is in the way. So we got to carve that off. Now, my grandfather used to do that with a scroll saw. Coping saw. It's a very small blade. Very tedious. It's not a lot of fun. It's frustrating. The blades are thin. They're made in China now. They break. My grandfather would not approve. So, we've upped our game. The client came on a minute ago and asked me where my safety glasses were. Right there on my nose, where they belong. Now, okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to try to get rid of that. I am going to literally carve this away. I'm going to use a 60 grit sanding disc on a grinder, just a little like a flapper wheel. They make flapper wheels, but I find these things last longer than a flapper wheel does. Take a little bit more of that meat. Believe it or not, that'll actually kind of catch up. But I just want to say, my father, my grandfather, my great uncle, all excellent woodworkers. They never cope something that fast in their life. This is kind of the look we're going for here. And I'm not holding the angle right, but see how that tucks in like that? That's what we're going for. Let's go try it out. Okay, so that piece is actually holding itself up there right now. I'm going to tap the top of this in just a little bit. See, I got a tiny gap here at the bottom, and I'm really, really tight here at the top. I'm going to tap the top of this in just a little bit, and then I'll roll it, true that up, and here we go. The problem is, when you do a little tap, you can't tell exactly if you've moved it or not. So I like to do a little line on the ceiling, like that, and then when I tap it, now I've got a little space. I know I moved it. So this piece, the next piece is a little bit different because on this end we're going to 45, and we're going to bring our 45 on that end to a 22.5 on this end. So we've got a different angle on each end. That one gets coped. This one's just a miter, and then we take it off to there. So we've only got 1, 2, 3 pieces left, but we've left the 3 hardest ones for last, of course. So we're gonna grab a measurement off of here. Again, I will measure from the sheetrock right below this. Okay, when I cut off I need to show that to the outside. When you cut off the measurement and it's angled back, when you cope it, you lose that much length. And that much length is what you need to place over the other piece. It's science, it's math. I don't know how it works, but it works. So you can see I've got a tiny little joint at the top and I'm tight at the bottom, and that piece is in there pretty tight. So I'm gonna take this piece down, which isn't nailed yet, and change my angle just slightly to eliminate that gap there and keep this piece pushed up where it needs to be. Actually, I'm gonna put a nail in it. Okay, so we want to take a little bit more meat off the bottom of the cut, but not the top of the cut, because then we're going to be too short. A couple of ways to do that. One way is when you put it, you see it's set for 22.5. One way is when you put it in the saw, you can kick it forward just a little bit, like take it off the fence. See, I'm just rotating it slightly. That'll kick the bottom of it into the cut and keep the back of it, the top of it away from the cut. Better way to do it is to knock your measurement down. So I'm at 22.5. I'm going to knock this down to 21.5. Just take a degree off the bottom. Little amounts make a big difference here. So I'm going to set the saw blade up so the top of the saw comes down the same place it was, but you see a little bit of come off the bottom of the cut. So that was just 1 degree difference, 21.5 instead of 22.5. And to me, it looked like we lost about 1/8 of an inch there, which is probably about right what we needed. There we go. A tiny little, we caught that in, just real small joint there though. But I don't want to take too much more off of this. I have the length of the other end to work with, but the more you take off of this, these angles really need to match for the piece to come together, for the profile to if you were to take, say you make this one 21 degrees, but make this one 20 degrees and this one's 22.5, you're going to start to see that there's 2 different profiles coming together, and then your tops and bottoms won't line up anymore. So easier to put a little bit of caulking here. We're caulking all this anyways. Easier to do a little bit of caulking in here, nice and squared off, than it is to change the profiles, and then your top, these 1, 2, 3, 4 little touch points don't come together anymore. Okay, last and final piece. Have you been to Lowe's lately? It used to be $19.95. 12-foot stick of crown all day long. Solid wood, or finger jointed, primed. I went in that place this morning. It was $32.95 a stick. That's right. I was gonna get 5 sticks, but you know, I'm always trying to not waste money. So I went with 4. Down to the last piece. I need 77 inches out of this piece. Well, hot dang. We're gonna make it. No room for mistakes. Nom, nom. Oh, good, good.